Yeah, get excited for Fantasy Week 16. I'm serious. I know it's wild, but we got a lot to break down here and a lot of fantasy angles to cover. So please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. That's all the intro you're getting today. Let's rock and roll. We are into Week 16, and we might have A.J. Brown back tonight. And it looks like we will have Julio Jones, but not Elijah Mitchell. We'll talk about Thursday Night Football. And guys, are you ready for this matchup between the top two picks in the NFL draft? Boy, that is flying under the radar, huh? Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson. Should we start with that game?
No. Are they also the worst two rookie quarterbacks this year?
Trey Lance?
Well, I mean, Lance in his one start was better than they've been.
I guess so. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Like maybe the worst two rookie quarterbacks of the last decade.
They have combined for 15 touchdowns and 25 interceptions. And in a combined 22 games since week 1, they have thrown 10 touchdown passes. They threw 5 touchdown passes in week 1 and 10 since. But
I have a really tough call to make in one league. This is how stupid this league is, but it's that giant office league. Heath knows. Well, you guys both know, I think.
Yeah.
Where I got so lucky to beat what might have been the best team in the history of that league. That had it's you start one quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver, and 2 flexes, and that team was Aaron Rodgers, Jonathan Taylor, and Cooper Kupp, and I still managed to win. So
wow.
It's a 2014 league. And somebody dropped the Jets DST a couple weeks ago. So I picked them up, and I have a tough choice to make between the Jets DST and the Vikings DST, and I'm torn.
Jets, I think.
I'm leaning Jets, yeah, but I mean, Stafford takes sacks. So that's the one thing. The Vikings have been doing a good job getting the quarterback. So,
well, I before we get into the main show, I just want to talk a little bit of trash. I'm facing Jamie in the podcast league. He's the 1 seed. Pretty sure I'm going to upset Jamie. Feel good about it.
It would be a welcome return after what I did to you.
In our IDP league, yes, you kicked my butt. And 2, this is even worse. Heath and I share a team, the other podcast league.
Does Jamie know about this team? What you've done in this league?
Can we not? I don't want to get into that again.
Okay.
Heath did not put any waiver claims in last night. Like, he doesn't even care. Show a little bit of respect.
You've done the waivers every week of the season. It's week 16.
You should have looked. Did you even look?
No.
Yeah.
So you didn't put any waiver claims in?
I did. I just didn't do it until 8.
No, Jamie, this week is supposed to be the championship game.
No, it's not.
Last week was supposed to be the first round of the playoffs. Adam forgot to set the playoff matchups, and our team had a really bad week. So he just added a week to the regular season last week and started the playoffs this week.
No way.
For real.
That's not what happened, man.
Did you add a week to the regular season?
I added a week to the regular season.
Okay,
because
so what was last week supposed to be then?
The last week of the regular season. I forgot to put
10-team league?
Yes. See, it was defaulted to last year where the playoffs started in week.
You waited until last week to do that, though?
No, he waited until during the Sunday show.
Yeah.
During the Sunday night show, I went to check our score in that league and noticed there were no matchups because he didn't set the playoff matchups because the league rules said the playoffs were supposed to have started. And so he just added a week to the regular season.
I sent a note to the league 2 straight weeks saying that the
playoffs, you did this?
started week 16. I made it very clear the playoffs started week 16. I just forgot to add that extra week. Okay, let's get to some quick Thursday
sneaky stuff. Fantasy cops, you're arrested.
Let's get to some quick Thursday stuff. The Titans will not have the left side of their offensive line. Presumably, they'll be able to use backups there, but the starters are out. Luan and Saffold against the Niners.
Well, that depends. Did they send a note to the rest of the league saying that they can do that?
No, they're just adding 2 linemen.
So will you guys help me set my lineup tonight with the 2 Thursday games that relate to all these pieces of news that you're giving?
Yeah, the other news is that A.J. Brown is likely to play, according to Ian Rappaport. Julio Jones is going to play. Eli Mitchell is out. All right, Heath, go ahead.
So I have Justin Jackson, DeAndre Swift, Devontae Freeman, and Jeff Wilson. Do I start Wilson or hope one of Swift or Jackson plays?
You need 2 or 1 spot?
2. I've got Freeman, so I've got Freeman as a kind of a backup plan for one of them.
If you tell me that Freeman is getting his usual workload, then I like him better than Wilson. So I think I would probably wait it out just to see what happens.
Hope you get Jackson and Swift, and if not, you've got Freeman and.
Well, Jackson's obviously definitely playing. It's just a matter of is he a starter or is he a backup?
Yeah,
And,
but he can't start him if he.
Well, I mean, you saw what happened last week. It's the Texans.
But you can't trust that though. I mean, you're not going to put him in your top 30 if Eckler plays, I assume.
No, but I just don't love the setup for Jeff Wilson tonight. That's the problem.
So then at wide receiver, I have A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Hunter Renfrow, and Gabriel Davis, and I have to start 3.
I would start. It would just come down to Lockett and Dave. I'd play A.J. Brown for sure.
And actually, it's a good question overall. Do you just play it safe with your Thursday guys, knowing a decent chance, I guess, that any player could end up on the COVID list? And I did that last week with Mike Williams. It didn't work out. But if you have some uncertainty, it's just obviously we see what's going on in the NFL. Do you just play it safe with a guy? If it's close, just go with the Thursday guy because at least they're playing.
I'll tell you another part of this, not to go on a tangent, but I had some tough calls to make in a couple 10-team leagues of dropping Alexander Madison, and I just played the scenario in my head of Dalvin Cook being placed on the COVID list. I didn't want to drop him.
I have him in this same league we're talking about, and I've got a roster crunch, and I just can't. Same thing. Yeah. Can't drop him.
Yeah. All right. So
I would, in your case, Heath, I would probably. I think you have to play Wilson just because.
So you're gonna play Brown and Wilson.
Brown is the easy one for me. I would play Brown. I just fear like Devontae Freeman could be bad. And
where are you guys ranking A.J. Brown? Let me talk about A.J. Brown here.
He's top 20 for me.
He's closer to 30 for me.
Okay.
It's such a good matchup.
Without Mosley, yeah, they struggle.
And it's not a lower leg injury he's coming back from. I think he's going to be okay. Dominant, I don't know, but okay, yes.
It's part of my big upset over Jamie in the podcast league. Let's go A.J. Brown. All right, we'll compare him to other players throughout the show. We've got a Sunday NFL on CBS doubleheader, and the early window features 2 huge divisional matchups with first place on the line when Josh Allen and the Bills meet Mac Jones and the Patriots for the top spot in the AFC East, and the Ravens battle the Bengals for supremacy in the AFC North. This is a great week. Later, the Steelers try to stay in the playoff hunt when they take on the best team in the conference, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It all begins with the NFL Today at noon Eastern, doubleheader action this Sunday on CBS. Jamie, start of the week. Who we got?
Ronald Jones. And it's a nice setup for him with Leonard Fournette out. Last season, we talked about this on Tuesday. Last season, in 4 games in place of Fournette, he had at least 19 total touches in each game. He had at least 84 rushing yards in each game. He scored 3 touchdowns in those 4 games. It's a great matchup against a Carolina defense that has struggled against the run recently with the stellar likes of Mike Davis, Myles Gaskin, and Devin Singletary, all scoring 13 or more PPR points. So I look at that as kind of the floor for Ronald Jones because I think he'll score. I think it'll be a run-heavy approach. So he's a top 10 guy for me this week. I got asked a question on a radio show before our podcast today, Joe Mixon or Ronald Jones, and it made me pause for a second because I haven't ranked Mixon yet. But I would start Ronald Jones over Joe Mixon, for example.
Okay. Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Ronald Jones?
Ronald Jones.
All right. Heath, who you like this week?
Whew. I'll just stay in the same game. Bruce Arians says Antonio Brown looks like himself from before the ankle injury, and that suspension certainly gave him plenty of time to recover. We don't expect Mike Evans. There's definitely no Chris Godwin. This could be a deal where Antonio Brown just comes back and is the number 1 wide receiver, or number 1 not named Cooper Kupp. So yeah, he's a top 8 wide receiver for me in all formats, and I'm just firing him up and starting him over just about everybody.
So Heath, take me through the thought process, because I don't disagree with you, but just your concern over A.J. Brown coming back from a 3-game absence from a chest injury in a good matchup, and Antonio Brown. And I know the quarterbacks obviously are different, but just in terms of the comfort level with each guy, separate from their teams, but coming back from absences. I've
been looking for something. I mean, I'm trusting Bruce Arians a little bit here, but I've been looking for something optimistic about A.J. Brown. Like if somebody would just say, yeah, he's fine, or there's no concern, or I don't even know what his chest injury was. And I think the bigger thing, and you kind of said this with Chase Edmonds, they held him out an extra week. Well, it feels like Antonio Brown's been held out an extra 2 or 3 weeks because of the suspension. So this could be wrong, but my impression is if he had not been suspended, this would not be his first game back.
True, but he hasn't been practicing, so like, I'm just curious because, like you said, you're concerned. I'm assuming you're concerned over AJ Brown is injury related. You're concerned over Antonio Brown, not as much.
My concern over AJ Brown is mostly injury related.
Right.
I think there's a chance that the Titans offense is just a dumpster fire as well without half their offensive line. And Tannehill hasn't exactly produced good passing statistics.
No, I get the other parts of it.
Yeah.
I was just curious because, you have two guys coming off absences and you're saying Antonio Brown could be a top 5 guy and AJ Brown's close to the 30 for you. So just, the comparison.
All right. We've got a lot of good A Browns this week. Antonio.
That's what a good host does, Adam. You ask questions.
Yeah, that's fine. The good host lets other people ask questions too. Antonio Brown, AJ Brown, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
So salty when you said that about me like a month ago.
Well, I was probably joking. I don't remember. Players to avoid. Jamie, why don't you start? Who are we sitting?
I'm nervous about Devontae Parker. I know he typically does well in tough matchups. And we know Marshawn Lattimore hasn't exactly had the best of seasons. But, when you look at some of the guys that he has done well against, I think Parker could struggle. I think Tua could be a little bit overwhelmed. I know you like this scenario typically for the Saints, Adam. We haven't really seen it in a while. And obviously it's different with Drew Brees by comparison. But that place is going to be a nightmare, I think, for a younger quarterback who has shown some flaws. I know Tua's played better. Dolphins have won 6 straight. He's been a big part of it. But, this is going to be a tough test against a tough defense. He'll be under duress. So Parker with Waddle back in this scenario makes me a little bit nervous. Not a starting wide receiver in a 2-receiver league for me.
Yeah, I went through the last 5 Monday Night Football home games before 2020 when they had fans. And actually I was pretty surprised. Good quarterbacks did pretty well on the road at New Orleans.
Well, we've talked about that a lot, though, because they're chasing points.
Yeah, maybe. But they also were like Stafford, Matt Ryan, and Deshaun Watson.
I think that chasing points thing is the key. Drew Brees was a maniac in the dome in prime time. This game has an over-under of 39.
Wow.
The Dolphins project a total of 18, like the second or third lowest. And this Saints team has been a lot different, especially defensively lately, but they've been dominating time of possession, the 4th best time of possession margin since Taysom Hill became the quarterback, which makes sense. They're going to run the ball a lot and not throw it very much. You look at the quarterbacks who they've faced over the last 6 weeks, no one's thrown for more than 260 yards since week 9. There's one quarterback, Josh Allen, with more than 1 touchdown pass over that stretch.
Okay, Heath, who are you avoiding other than Tua?
Well, yeah, the
Tua.
Dolphins, I think is a good answer, but I'm pretty worried about AJ Dillon again. And we said it last week, like he's just got to score a touchdown and he'll probably be okay. But I don't think he's going to score a touchdown every week. And I don't really like his portion of the role right now with the Packers. It's kind of seemed like last week, Aaron Jones maybe was a little bit more healthy and maybe it's not quite a 50-50 split. I'm not sure. So I would like it if I didn't have to start AJ Dillon.
So would you start Justin Jackson if Eckler's out over AJ Dillon?
I would.
Or are you going to go with Jeff Wilson tonight over AJ Dillon?
I would.
Okay. How about Deontay Foreman?
I would.
Are we lowering Foreman with Saffold and Luan being out?
Yeah, I guess a little bit, but they're still going to feed him. So we'll see.
Let me just stay on the Dolphins real quick. More or less knock this game out. What about Jalen Waddle?
I would still start him, certainly in PPR. That's where they'll attack. He'll Lattimore won't go inside. He'll stay in the slot. So I think he's still trustworthy. Again, more so in PPR than non-PPR.
It's PPR. I like him as a top 20 wide receiver. He's a number 2. You're probably starting him.
Okay. All right. Time for all the news and notes. Here we go. Austin Eckler and Jalen Guyton are on the reserve COVID list. What we have seen for much of the season is a player that goes on the COVID list, vaccinated or not, unvaccinated, no chance to play, out 10 days at least. But Vaccinated usually does not come off in time for the game, but they're trying to speed up the process, change the protocols a little bit. We will see. Eckler right now is on the COVID list.
Did we ever get an explanation of why he was reported to be going on the COVID list Monday and didn't go on till Wednesday?
I think from what I saw was he was considered a close contact initially, and then they thought that he was okay. I could be totally wrong on this, so I apologize. But I wonder if he tested positive after the fact.
Because I think that's if we could get that information, it would be him. If he tested positive on Monday, he would have a better chance than if he tested positive for the first time yesterday.
Yes. Totally agree.
That is true. Let me see if I can find that, as I do think. Okay, reports. All right, I'll see if I can find it. Anyway, Justin Jackson's 46% rostered. Lamar Jackson is day-to-day. He did not practice yesterday. Joe Mixon did practice, so he practiced in full. He looks good to go. DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams both back at practice. So does that mean we should not be right now relying on Craig Reynolds in our lineup?
I think that's what that means, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I think you look at with Craig Reynolds is if Swift doesn't return, I think he's the best Lions running back. Reynolds is.
I would agree with that. Don't drop him.
If Swift is back, then you have a nightmare on your hands, because I'm going to guess all three probably have some role, with Williams still probably the third guy.
And if Swift is back, I think it's a Reynolds wrap. Okay. Yes. James Conner and Rondale Moore missed practice. They have a Saturday game, so you got to keep an eye on Moore, whatever. But James Conner's still not practicing.
You could use that joke twice. They have two Reynolds on their team.
They do. They do. It's true. Yeah, it would probably not be good for the other Reynolds if Swift played. Also, right now, don't know about Jared Goff. Jacksonville designated tight end Dan Arnold to return from IR. So, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on, because there is some appeal to James O'Shaughnessy and maybe Arnold if he plays at the Jets. Kadarius Toney's going to come off the COVID list, but he's probably not going to be available this week. You're not going to want him anyway. Michael Carter is among 15 Jets who are on the reserve COVID list. What do you think about Tevin Coleman, who really wasn't that bad?
Wrong, Michael Carter.
The other Michael Carter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I got a text from
That's not fair.
From Schrager's favorite friend, Andrew Baumer, who used to be one of our producers, in a panic. What do I do? Michael Carter's on IR. Wrong, Michael Carter.
Like, you got to be kidding me, Roto World. Why would you do that?
Adam Schefter tweeted Michael Carter running back, deleted his tweet, changed it to the cornerback.
Oh, fine. All right. Well, sigh of relief.
Roto World doesn't exist anymore, also, Adam.
NBC Edge. You still type in Roto World, it goes there. Jamison Crowder missed practice. Pittsburgh looking at two linebackers and a starting offensive lineman on the COVID list right now. Pat Fryer missed practice. Yeah, go ahead.
Is Jamison Crowder questionable, or was that a veteran rest day?
He had. I don't think it was just a rest day. He was listed with some ailment, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I can get this so much here. Pat Freiermuth missed practice. Cleveland put cornerback Greg Newsome on the COVID list. Austin Hooper is off, and David Njoku has a knee injury. So we could see, maybe we'll go back to Austin Hooper this week. Denzel Ward is a groin injury for Cleveland. They're a little beat up going into this game at Green Bay on Saturday. Kareem Hunt not expected to play. Miles Sanders was estimated to miss practice. He's still a little nicked up, but assuming he should play against the Giants.
This situation really bothers me, because the fact that he left in the fourth quarter, he said after the game to Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network that they were just resting him because he's been so banged up lately. The game was still in not jeopardy, but it was close. Like, it was weird that he wasn't out there, but also knowing that they had such a quick turnaround and they trust Jordan Howard, it just really, I hope we get to Friday and he's fine.
I was equally nervous about Ron Rivera's quote about Antonio Gibson, because Gibson came back after the toe injury, but Rivera said it's basically the same thing that happened to him last week on a Tuesday.
Last year on
a Tuesday.
Yep.
With the toe injury.
But that situation, though, he didn't play in the game. Like, he left and was done. That was against Pittsburgh. I remember that one.
And I mean, should we be picking up Jared Patterson right now?
I mean, you can. I don't know how many people are going to trust Jared Patterson, though. I think it's Jonathan Williams, right? I know his last name is Williams.
Yeah.
Is the third guy. Like, I think it'd be a mess.
Okay. DJ Moore is going to be a game time decision. Brandon Cooks is on the reserve COVID list. That stinks. Teddy Bridgewater is out this week. Boy, the Raiders secondary, if we had any faith in Drew Lock, the Raiders secondary is a mess right now. Jonathan Abrams, starting safety, he's out for the season. He has a terrible grade from PFF in coverage, but he still is a starting safety. Cornerback Trayvon Mullen is back on IR, and 2 defensive backs are on the reserve COVID list. So it is a really thin secondary for the Raiders. Probably won't affect the rankings much, I assume. The Chargers look like they're getting Asante Samuel back, finally, starting cornerback. He's missed 4 straight games. Kansas City activated Josh Gordon and linebacker Willie Gay.
The Chargers DST is available, by the way. Good God, go get them.
Yeah. They've been really disappointing, though.
But now Cook was not there. I mean,
I know. Will Dissly's on the reserve COVID list. Ramondre Stevenson missed practice with an illness. Emmanuel Sanders, he's practicing a little bit. He's day-to-day. Tyron Smith missed practice. Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly, 2 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, missed practice, but it was an illness and personal reasons, so they should be good for the Colts, we think, on Saturday. And looks like the Colts will probably not have starting cornerback Rock Ya-Sin for this game at Arizona on Saturday. All right. Whew, there we go. Well, actually, no, we're not done there. Let's update the waiver wire talk right now with the new COVID announcements. I think Justin Jackson's pretty obvious to go get him. But what about Josh Kelley? He'll have a role too. What about the Kansas City wide receivers? Heath, why don't you start with Kansas City's wide receivers? Are we picking up?
I would still favor Mecole Hardman as the best option. We have had a theory in the past that if something ever happened to Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman could fill his role, and I think that's originally what he was drafted to do. So we'll find out if he can do 70% of what Tyreek Hill does. I'm a little bit interested in Pringle. I think Gordon's a dart throw, but none of these guys are top 36 wide receivers for me.
Just to give you context to Hardman, so 5 games without Tyreek Hill going back to 2019, he scored 11 PPR points or more in 3 of them. So he has had some success clearly when Tyreek's not been there.
And we've never seen no Tyreek or Kelsey. It's just an amazing opportunity for targets. And one thing I did notice about Hardman is that his snap share has been going down recently, and Pringle seems to be on the rise.
Yep.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, this is more about him stepping in for Tyreek, not him by himself.
Right, but I just wonder if Pringle is the one they trust the most.
I think that's, yeah.
I'm more curious to see what they're going to do replacing Kelsey.
Well, where's Mahomes right now in your rankings?
I hope he's still in Kansas City, because if he's not there, then we really have a problem. I mean, he's a low-end starter. Like, the only guy that I would consider at this point over him would be Tyler Huntley, which is crazy. But I think that's kind of how you have to approach it, right?
But as bad as Dak has been, I'm still starting Dak over Mahomes.
I kind of like Dak this week because he got Washington on a short week, and he's been really good at home.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of forget they've been on the road for 3 straight games.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there were a lot of Cowboys fans at those games. Pardon me. All right, Josh Kelley, is he worth an ad?
Yeah.
I think in deeper leagues, yeah. But, you know, Justin Jackson seems to be the safe option, you know, just based on what we saw last time they played when Eckler was dinged up.
All right, good thing it is Houston. You know, there's a possibility for both guys to get in the end zone, maybe. All right, let's go one question for each game. Let's start with Baltimore, Cincinnati. If Lamar Jackson is out, who is the best quarterback in this game?
Huntley.
Yep.
I kind of love Burrow. Am I crazy? Baltimore's secondary is so bad, and their run defense is so good. It just makes sense that Burrow would have to throw a lot.
I'm with you, but I think Huntley's ceiling is higher, you know, so it's just a matter of will he fulfill it? Like, I think Burrow's floor is safer because you've seen, you know, Huntley. It's a small sample size of 3 games, but, you know, Burrow's been all over the place lately, and they still have some offensive line concerns. So I was actually hoping for Burrow that Mixon wouldn't play, because then it would have been a little bit more on him.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think you got to trust Burrow at this point that he should deliver. He was great against them the first time around, and, you know, like you said, the secondary's a mess.
Yeah, you guys have him in your top 12, so that was I feel like I'm less on an island. I didn't realize you guys would all have Burrow in your top 12. All right.
I like Burrow better than Mahomes and Brady.
Yeah, I wish I had blocked you from picking up Burrow in one of the leagues we're playing against. I didn't even see he was available. Buffalo and New England. Any confident starts other than Diggs and Allen in the Buffalo-New England game?
Assuming Damian Harris is back and Ramondre Stevenson is out, then I'd start Harris in non-PPR confidently. And I'm starting Dawson Knox. He's been better when Beasley's not been good, and he had 6 targets the last time they played. If he'd not dropped passes, he would have been good. And I'm starting Gabriel Davis.
I do think Jacoby Myers has a chance to help you if there is no Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar, which is where it is right now. I think Hunter Henry has a chance to help you if there is no Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar, which it is right now. They're not going to only throw 3 passes. I doubt that's going to be the game plan. I'm sure Buffalo is going to force them to throw. So, yeah, I think this game could actually be a little bit more high scoring than people think. What's the number at it, Heath? I haven't looked.
I will have that. It is currently 43.5.
I'm trying to guess. You're just not even listening to me.
No, 43.5.
I'm going to guess 41.5.
That's low, but not as low. Like Chicago, Seattle is lower. Jacksonville and the Jets is lower. Miami and the New Orleans lower.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm going to take the over on that. I think they're actually going to be – this is going to be a little bit more high scoring than people think.
Nah, I don't know. I could see the Patriots scoring 10 points. Pittsburgh, Kansas City. Who's the second best wide receiver in this game behind Deontay Johnson? Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Assuming
Claypool.
Claypool.
Probably Claypool. So you said New England could score 10 points. You know they're favored, right?
Yeah, I don't think I have this issue where I just don't believe in them.
Okay. But you do believe in the Bills.
I do. I still think that they I still think they have I said this a couple weeks ago. They have the best roster in football, I think, from top to bottom.
This is their season.
Let's go Bills. I don't know why. I'm like a Bills fan, which is not good for the Bills.
You know if the Bills lose this game, it'll be 500.
I have so much stock in Josh Allen. I just please play well.
Not a good. I mean, it's just like it's kind of like how I felt about Brady against the Saints last week. It's like, oh man, this guy, can he get through this?
Well, no, Allen's got a better track record against the Patriots than
he's got one good game, right? Two?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I only looked at last.
He has one huge game.
Yeah. Let's see. Miami, New Orleans. How does having Waddle, Parker, and Gesicki all available change the rankings?
I mean, it makes me like Parker and Gesicki less.
Is Gesicki a top 10 tight end?
Yep.
I hate tight end this week. Absolutely hate it.
Who do you guys think is going to win the Bills-Patriots game?
I have to do my picks in a few minutes after the show. I think Buffalo wins.
I'll stick with Belichick.
Okay. Denver and the Raiders. Are Josh Jacobs and Hunter Renfrow good starts in this tough matchup?
Yeah. Yes.
You guys have a lot of faith in Josh Jacobs.
I don't love Josh Jacobs, but it's like he's getting almost 20 touches a week, so it's hard to overlook that.
Mm-hmm. Chargers-Texans. Mike Williams bounce back week. Oh wait, where's the laughter? There's the laughter. I don't know my soundboard well.
Yeah, I think he bounces back. It's the Texans.
I mean, yeah, if he scores.
I think the Texans allow the 8th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. Is that maybe it's the quarterbacks? I think it's the quarterbacks.
Well, that's because teams run on them.
Exactly. Yeah. Jacksonville and the Jets. Is Tevin Coleman a starter if Michael Carter is out? And I sent that when I thought Michael Carter, the running back.
Didn't you realize that?
So let's change that to, is Michael Carter a starter? Is he Michael Starter this week?
He's a flex. I think he's their best running back. I hope he's their best running back. I hope Tevin Coleman last week was a byproduct of he played better than Carter running the ball, and Carter was coming off the layoff. So it's a little bit of blind faith in Carter, and the Jaguars' run defense has clearly shown some flaws the last couple of weeks. So I don't mind Carter as a flex, but I don't love him.
Yeah, well, last week was pretty disappointing.
Hey, we got news. Good news.
Yes.
Taylor Heineke's back.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't bring that up. It came out
Welcome
after I see my
back.
notes. But Taylor Heineke, yeah, he's out of the protocol and he will practice.
Good.
Wahoo! Baltimore at Cincinnati. Let's start here. Stat of the game. Joe Burrow is Pro Football Focus's top-rated quarterback for the season. His passing grade. He has the highest passing grade. Is that something? Wouldn't have thought so. Yeah, interesting. So there's that. How about the wide receivers in this game? Stat of the game number 2. The Bengals have now allowed 80 yards to 8 wide receivers in their last 8 games. That's a lot. The Ravens have allowed 84 or more yards to 8 wide receivers in their last 6 games. That's even worse. Jamie, talk to me about the wide receivers in this game. Confident?
Yes. I think well, it depends. Like, we're talking Tyler Boyd.
We could be. You tell me.
I'm not confident in Tyler Boyd, but I am confident in Chase and Higgins. And then Baltimore's guys too? Marquise Brown?
Yeah, Baltimore's guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird to say that Marquise Brown is a better PPR wide receiver than a non-PPR guy because it's just not the way we think of him. But he's just racking up receptions at this point and not doing anything down the field. I'm starting the 3 top receivers in this game. I'm starting Chase. I'm starting Higgins. I'm starting Marquise Brown.
Okay. Over, say, Chase Claypool?
Yeah.
I'd start Tyler Boyd over Chase Claypool.
How about Jalen Waddle versus the Bengals guys? Well, how about all of them? Jalen Waddle versus all 3 of these wide receivers.
I will still probably start Waddle over all of them in PPR. In non-PPR, I would take all 3 of them over Waddle.
I'd go Higgins, Waddle, Brown, Chase, and PPR.
Higgins, Waddle. Okay. So I love this stat that Mark Andrews had such a huge game last week with Tyler Huntley. He was the only player with a catch of longer than 8 yards for the Ravens, which is really amazing. So pretty conservative for Huntley. But all right, so where are you ranking Huntley? This is assuming Lamar Jackson is out. If Jackson's plays, I guess he's a must start because you guys have Huntley ranked pretty high. So Heath, where's Huntley right now?
I think 8.
Are you nervous about that? Who's he ahead of?
Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady
And Joe Burrow.
and Joe Burrow. And yes, I am nervous about that.
Mahomes is obviously, I'll speak for myself, but I assume I'll speak for Heath. If everybody comes back, Mahomes is better than Tyler Huntley.
100%. If Evans plays, I'd probably move Brady ahead of Huntley.
Yeah, I think you guys have Huntley ahead of, say, Kirk Cousins, who is pretty steady quarterback, but he's facing the Rams. You want to talk about that decision?
There really is no decision. I think you're just banking on upside.
Yeah. Is it ignoring downside, though? Because Huntley he scored 16
Cousins has
points.
quite a bit of downside as well.
Yeah, he does throw 2 touchdowns every week.
He was
But
under 100 yards passing last week.
78 yards last week, sure. All right, so how are you looking at the Ravens running backs right now? Heath, I'll throw this one to you. It really looked like Freeman was dominating here. Latavius Murray had 5 touches combined over 2 games, and then last week they basically split.
With no explanation of why that happened, I don't think we have any way to start Freeman with any confidence. He's a high-end flex. I'd still prefer Freeman to Murray, but I kind of think if they have a carry from the 1-yard line, it's probably going to be Murray, and I'm less confident now that Freeman's going to be the pass-catching back because they were throwing it to Murray. So I'm starting most of the people we talked about over Devontae Freeman.
The one concern I have is this was, a change with a change at the quarterback position too. Like, I wonder how much that matters. Do they feel more comfortable with Murray in an expanded role with Huntley? And I don't know why, but it's just something that, something changed for them last week because it was, him filling in. And the last time that he filled in as a starter was Murray was still either out or working his way back from the ankle injury in the Bears game.
Yeah. Okay. Would you start Devontae Freeman or how about Tony Pollard?
Pollard.
I would start Pollard.
Oh, okay. So let's go to the Bengals because we know we're starting Mark Andrews and we talked about Marquise Brown. Yeah. What is it that got Joe Burrow into your top 12? The crappiness at quarterback or the enticing matchup?
Yes.
The enticing matchup. I mean, it's he showed you that he can have success against his defense when they were in a better standing in the first meeting in week 7. Some of his struggles have not been on him. I mean, we go back to I forget the game where Jamar Chase dropped the 80-yard pass that would have been a touchdown that turned into an interception. I think 3 weeks ago. This secondary is just so bad. It's so beat up. It's such an opportunity. And Joe Mixon has not been running well. And so now you're facing a very good run defense still. And your quarterback should win the game for you. This is one of the biggest games in recent Bengals history for sure. They can set themselves up to win the division. And so it's Burrow's time to shine, and I think he will.
This is going to be a great game. Really excited for this one. All right, so do you have Mahomes and Brady ahead or behind Burrow?
Brady ahead right now, but I might change that. But Burrow ahead of Mahomes.
I've got Burrow behind them. The only thing I am pretty excited about what he could do to the secondary. The only thing that worries me is what has happened to this Bengals offense. Like if Huntley's bad, because what this Bengals offense has been whenever the other team doesn't score points has just been do not throw the football. He had 22 passes last week against Denver when they scored 10. He had 24 passes against Pittsburgh when they scored 10. He had 29 against the Raiders when they scored. Like if the opposing offense doesn't show up, Joe Burrow does not throw.
Yep, absolutely. All right, that's worth noting for sure. Joe Mixon, he has been struggling a bit lately. Do you even give any consideration to sitting him?
I mean, I think if you have, he's going to be ranked behind Ronald Jones and Justin Jackson for me. So take that into account.
I had him a little lower. I didn't realize he was a full participant yesterday in practice. I think he has done an outstanding job of showing us like what he's done the last couple of weeks has not been very predictive of what he's going to do the next week. So he had a stretch where it went 5 yards per carry against Baltimore and then 2 yards per carry against the Jets and then 5 yards per carry against the Browns. And then he's been bad yards per carry the last couple of weeks. I am just going to start Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I mean, you could start Ronald Jones over him, I assume. Cordell Patterson's in a great spot. Maybe Miles Sanders. These guys over Mixon.
Yeah, no, I like I said, if Austin Eckler's out, I'm starting Justin Jackson over Joe Mixon.
Okay. I wish we had a better understanding of what his role in the passing game would be because that is so inconsistent. 5 catches, 0 catches, very annoying. All right, we talked about Chase and Higgins. We're not really starting Boyd, but we like the other guys. And real quick, CJ Uzomah. 3 catches, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the first meeting on only 3 targets. Any interest in Uzomah?
No.
How about a DST?
No.
How about a break?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. We'll take a quick break on Fantasy Football today. Buffalo 27, New England 10 when we come back. See, Buffalo 27, New England 10. That was my score prediction. With that, what was the over-under there? Did that wouldn't even hit the over? Oh, it would hit the over. No, it wouldn't. Sorry, Heath. It was 43.5?
43.5.
Yeah, see? That's how you go under. 27-10. All right, anyway, it's not my real prediction, so don't hate me. Stat of the game. This is stupid and weird. Gabriel Davis has 4 or more targets in 15 games in his career. 4 or more. He has a touchdown in 10 of them. 2/3 of his games where he has 4 or more targets, he's caught a touchdown. He's a touchdown machine. It's weird. So the Patriots, though, they haven't allowed more than 51 yards to a wide receiver in 6 straight games. Haven't played the best ones, but still. But they did face the Bills in that weather game. What is your confidence level in Gabriel Davis? Heath Cummings.
It's relatively high. He's a low-end number 2 wide receiver who has big-time upside. I don't think it would be all that surprising if the Patriots just took Stephon Diggs away and Davis was better. You're starting both, and you're starting Diggs over Davis. But I think there's some sneaky potential for him to have a big game, and it's really hard to find 2 or 3 wide receivers you want to start over him.
I like the fact that Beasley's out. That helps. I would love if Emmanuel Sanders was out also, because then you're talking about that target potential definitely being there. So he's in a really good spot. He's somebody like I like him better than Claypool. I like him better than Pittman. I like him better than Ayuk tonight. I don't know how far you want to go, but I think he's got top 24 upside for sure.
And what if Sanders plays? Would you drop him behind, you won't be able to do that with Ayuk, but would you drop him behind Pittman?
No.
Okay. Why do you think, Jamie, this is going to be higher scoring? And it doesn't seem like you're too nervous about these matchups.
I think that Josh Allen's going to play well. And I think if Josh Allen plays well, the Patriots are going to have to respond. So we saw them last week, have to throw, and they threw with some success against a good Colts defense in a comeback effort. So I don't think it's going to be in the 50s, but I do think that's going to go over the number. So I could see a 24-20, 27-24 type of game.
It is pretty interesting. The Patriots have allowed 4 touchdown passes in their last 6 games. Look who
they played.
Yeah, I know, but it's still impressive. But they held Brady to 10 points. They held Herbert to 16 points.
Oh, they're great. This is not taking anything away from them. They're great. But
yeah,
I just think Josh Allen shows up.
Okay, well then let's go.
And I think he'll show up with his legs too.
He is top 5 for you guys. He's, I think, 3rd for Heath, 5th for Jamie. If both Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris play, and Harris looks like he's going to play, and Stevenson had an illness that he missed practice with. If they both play, who's the best running back in this game?
Is Moss inactive?
No, let's say Moss is inactive.
Singletary.
That's interesting. I'd probably still go Harris over Singletary, but it'll be close.
If Moss is inactive, would you start Singletary or Devontae Freeman?
Singletary.
Singletary. Even if Moss plays, I start Singletary.
In his last 3 games without Zach Moss, he had a game with just 4 carries at Tampa Bay, but he also had 6 catches. The other 2 games, he had 15 carries at the Saints and 22 carries against the Panthers. And this is not the strength of the Patriots defense. They give up 4.6 yards per carry to running backs.
I was going to say, of those 4 defenses, this is probably the best matchup.
I would say for sure. One thing about the Patriots, though, they, I talked a lot about they give up a lot of receiving yards to running backs. The last 4 games, not at all. They really improved there. But,
They did give up a pretty significant receiving touchdown, though, to Nyheim Hines. I mean, that play that he made on that catch.
Yeah.
So impressive.
One of the best catches. Yes, absolutely.
Well, it was a pinpoint throw.
But what was the ADOT on that? 0.1? All right, Diggs, no problem. Start him. We're good.
Well, there's problems. I mean,
yeah, I know. I mean, so would you start Antonio Brown over Diggs this week?
yes.
I would.
Okay, let's get a scenario that you could sit Stephon Diggs.
Oh,
You
okay.
have Antonio Brown,
Russell Gage, I like him better.
Cordell Patterson.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, it's not hard. You could have drafted Cooper Kupp in the 5th round. So you could have Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs, and then you could have Antonio Brown and Russell Gage.
Okay, great. We just sat Stephon Diggs. He's top 15?
Yep.
Yeah, top 15. Okay. We talked about Gabriel Davis and Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox or Mike Gesicki?
Knox.
I have gone back and forth and back and forth. I'm going to say today that I will start Gesicki.
This is a very tough matchup. This team allows the fewest fantasy points to tight ends. They haven't faced a ton of good ones, but they've consistently, year after year, been good here.
And I don't from my recollection, Dawson Knox was 2 catches that he normally makes away from a pretty good day against the Patriots.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something the Patriots did. Like the one in the end zone, they kind of knocked away, but he had some other opportunities for plays. I'm starting him.
I don't even look at that game. It was such a wacky game with the weather. But all right, we'll start Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox or Hunter Henry, and that is if Bourne and Aguilar are out.
Henry.
Still Knox for me.
Jacoby Myers or Gabriel Davis if Bourne and Aguilar are out.
Ooh, it's a tough one in PPR. I would probably still start Davis, though.
I will still start Davis, but they are both top 24 in that situation.
Interesting. Okay. Boy,
Myers will have a very robust 6 for 45.
I'll start Myers over Devontae Parker.
When I looked at the receiving totals for the Patriots, Kendrick Bourne is their leading receiver. And Kendrick Bourne is their leading receiver in terms of yards. He has 48 fewer targets than Jacoby Myers. I mean, Jacoby Myers has so many targets. He's 21st in targets among all pass catchers, and he's 41st in yards. That is unbelievable. And he never scores.
There was must have been like a 15-yard throw against the Colts where Myers was just coming out of his route. I think Mac Jones threw it too soon, or Myers wasn't even expecting the ball. And it just kind of like summed up, in my opinion, his season, because it was like he was actually a little bit down the field. And like he turned around and he had to like stretch out for the ball. It was like, oh.
Yeah, it's weird. A ton of targets, doesn't do much with it, but would be a great opportunity if the other two wide receivers.
What's the all non-touchdown teams? You got Miles Sanders at running back, Myers at receiver, Cole Kmet at tight end,
Trevor Lawrence at quarterback.
Well, I think we're talking about guys who are good but don't score touchdowns.
But don't score. Daniel Jones. No. Who doesn't score?
I mean, probably Lamar. He has his lowest touchdown rate rushing and passing this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lamar's the quarterback. Who's the other running back with Sanders?
Is it Clyde?
Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds was a good
That's
one.
a good one. Yep. So Lamar, Edmonds, and Sanders. Myers.
Does DJ Moore still count at wide receiver?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. DJ Moore.
It's not this. You're not winning with this lineup.
No.
You have a
PPR
chance.
might compete.
All right, so back to this game here. I think we pretty much covered it. Let me give you some more Hunter Henrys. Hunter Henry or Jared Cook with Donald Parham likely out.
Henry.
Hunter Henry or Kyle Pitts.
Pitts.
I would take Henry and non-PPR if those guys are out.
I mean, I've only said this 17 times, but I think Pitts might just have an enormous game. Like, really.
No, I'm sorry. All due respect to Cole Kmet, Kyle Pitts is on the no touchdown. He has one, and Kmet has 0.
All right, so there's the tight end and flex.
Okay, yeah, big of the flex. I think that's it. Oh, the DSTs. I think the DSTs are really fascinating in this game. Do you like them?
Not really, but
Heath does.
Yeah, I do.
You do. Okay.
Yeah, I think the DSTs will be good. I've got the Patriots 15th and the Bills 16th. So that's fine.
Oh, we're still on that game?
Which one?
I thought we were on Patriots Bills.
Yeah, Patriots Bills.
Oh.
What'd you think?
I had Falcons Lions in there.
Falcons Lions is tomorrow. No, Patriots. All right, so Heath, your rankings must be updated. What did you say you have these?
They're 15 and 16. They're fine. Whatever.
Oh, okay. They were not. Who had them third? Did you have them?
Did
I think you had them top 6, both of them. All right. Nobody has them in the top 10. So I guess you can sit the DSTs. Which brings us to Pittsburgh at Kansas City. Maybe you can start both DSTs in this game. We'll see how it goes. How do you even preview this game? My goodness. Let's start with the Steelers, since right now they are whole for the most part.
I mean, I think you know what to do the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yes. We'll get back to Mahomes with and without his guys, maybe with one of them and whatever.
He has one, you're starting him. He has none, you can start Huntley.
All right. So this is a big stat to me.
He's been bad with those guys. I mean, what are we expecting without them?
Yeah. Here's a big stat to me in this game for Roethlisberger, and specifically for Claypool, right? A quarterback has attempted 35 or more passes against the Chiefs in 5 straight games and 40 or more in 4 straight games. And they have had 3 big offensive games in that stretch, but also 2 games with 19 and 22 points. So, you know how look, Roethlisberger, I think, and Claypool, they really are game script dependent. They have to throw a lot, especially for Claypool for those targets. He averages 10 targets per game in losses and 5 targets per game in wins. So, yeah, I mean, do you think Roethlisberger airs it out 35 to 40 times in this game, Heath?
I mean, I think it comes back to who's playing for the Chiefs. Because if there's no Tyreek Hill and there's no Travis Kelce and there's no Chris Jones, then maybe not, because maybe the Steelers aren't playing from behind. But my problem with Roethlisberger is we're talking about the scenario of if he throws it 40 times, then maybe he scores 21 or 22 fantasy points. Like, that feels like his ceiling.
To be fair, he threw 30 times and scored 20 points against the Bears 5 weeks ago. He threw 31 times and scored 23 points against the Ravens just 3 weeks ago. And I set it up to exactly the way you said it. So that's on me. But he has come through with decent games recently with, 30-ish.
But again, what's been Roethlisberger's ceiling?
23 to 25 points.
I don't love it.
I think the thing you got to hope for is and you said this, I think, on HQ yesterday, Heath. You got to hope for no Chris Jones and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Like, if you're counting on Roethlisberger, you're counting on their offense to be great for Kansas City, which clearly it could be if everybody's there. And then you're hoping for the defensive guys, specifically Jones, to be missing, to not wreak havoc on that offensive line, which is down a guy, like you said, Adam, and making things uncomfortable for Roethlisberger. So there's so many things that play. And look, I'll go back to Tuesday where I had Roethlisberger going into the week as somebody that I liked because of these scenarios. That the fact that at the time Jones wasn't cleared and we thought that Kelce and Hill would be there. So Huntley, redoing the waiver wire, Huntley was the second choice. And as I wrote in there, he would be the first choice if we knew Lamar Jackson was definitely out. So that's a pivot if you can make, from Mahomes or certainly from Roethlisberger. But there are scenarios that play where Roethlisberger can't have a good game. And look, even independent of all this, he can still have a good game. I mean, there's still an opportunity there that he comes out and throws a lot. So it's just you have to like him a little bit less if Jones plays and Hill and Kelce are not there.
I currently have to decide between him and Tua in a Tua quarterback league. I don't really like Tua, but I've got Tua ahead of him right now.
Well, I think with Tua, you can feel safe that the Dolphins are not going to be able to run the ball. With the Steelers, how do you feel about Najee Harris? We don't have to take a long time on this, but he's been a little dicey lately. Start him?
Yeah. He's a top. Yeah, you're right, but he's a top 15 running back in all formats, so I'm starting him.
Clyde or Najee?
Najee.
I will definitely go Najee and PPR. I'd go Clyde in on.
Okay. Started, of course, Deontay Johnson. And just in case people didn't catch it earlier when we talked about it in the one question for each game, who's your favorite Chiefs wide receiver? If Hills and Kelce are out.
Hardman
or Claypool in that scenario?
Why don't you do your Gallman sound?
Who do you like better, Claypool or where's the... I don't understand how at this point I don't know where the music is. Hardman.
It's Claypool.
Sorry, man. I had to do it. Claypool starter set. Look, the guy Claypool has been
sit
93, 82, 93, 82 or more yards in 3 of his last 5 games. And I'll tell you what, I think there's an opportunity for some end zone looks with Freiermuth out. What do you think?
There's opportunities. I just, Claypool hasn't scored a touchdown since like week 2 or 3.
Right.
He's been tough to trust.
He did have
again. It's kind of this game has turned for me. I went into the week liking Claypool because I thought they'd be chasing points, and now I don't. So it's hard to trust him.
Yeah.
And I don't like his participation has shrunk. I think he's not played more than 63% of the snaps. He was rotating series last week at times with James Washington. It wouldn't be that surprising if James Washington just played more than him.
Okay. Kansas City, 13th best against wide receivers. They have given up 72 or more yards to a wide receiver in 6 of their last 8 games. That will hopefully be Deontay Johnson. If Freiermuth is clear, do you start him?
Again, who's there for the Chiefs?
Well, even so, it's been a pretty good matchup.
Freiermuth plays. He's a top 12 guy.
All right.
He'll be behind Knox and Gesicki for me. Is it a good matchup now?
I don't know. It's so hard to know how to look at the Chiefs defense because they had this stretch where they were at home basically every week, and they're home this week. But they were facing pretty lousy offenses, and then they go to the Chargers and
without Jones.
Without 3 key players.
Right, and Bolton's out now, right? Too.
Fenton. And
this week isn't Bolton out?
I did not see that Bolton was out. That would be bad.
I thought he got placed on the COVID list.
Fenton, I thought did, but
Fenton definitely did.
and Charvarius Ward is hurt or on the COVID list. I don't remember. They still have some noteworthy absences, and we don't know if L'Jarius Sneed is going to play.
I'm looking for Nick Bolton news, and I've not seen any yet.
You can just call me Mike. Yeah, that was an Office Space. Bolton. Okay, anyway, give me all the scenarios for Patrick Mahomes, Jamie.
Mahomes gets his guys, must-start guy. Mahomes is down one of his guys, still a must-start guy. Mahomes is without his guys. He's oh bleep. What do I do about Patrick Mahomes?
You've seen Office Space, right?
Yeah.
Michael Bolton. You can just call me Mike. All right, we like Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Chiefs add Nick Bolton to COVID list.
Okay.
What's that?
Nick Bolton's on the COVID list.
Okay.
All right, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Miles Sanders.
I like Miles Sanders better, but they're both top 12 guys.
I'll go Clyde. I might change that by Friday if Sanders is a full participant.
Sony Michel or Clyde?
Clyde.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. The Steelers might have the worst run defense in football right now. It is up there. Kansas City wide receivers.
One more thing, though, Adam. For people looking at flex, I mean, Darrell Williams should have had 2 touchdowns against the Chargers. And if they don't have their receivers, he's certainly shown he can be a factor in the passing game. And I would think that that's something Andy Reid uses is to be creative. So I don't mind Darrell Williams as a flex.
And what you just said about Darrell Williams, though, is why I'm not totally gung-ho on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You could see Edwards-Helaire having a really good, nice, efficient game and then coming off the field when it matters most and not scoring.
Fair.
But you could also see him scoring from 40 yards away because the Steelers' run defense is so bad.
Yeah. And I suppose if you're talking about Miles Sanders, I can't exactly see Miles Sanders scoring.
He scores this week.
He literally never has.
Do you see how pissed off Jason Kelce was at him, by the way?
Yes. For not following his block. Yes.
Oh, my God. Kelce was like a steamroll. Just
yes. It was very
he was faster than Sanders.
He was. Sanders is going to give us a lot to think about going into next year. He's going to be a fun one to debate during the offseason. All right, Miami at New Orleans. Let's go a little faster here. We kind of covered the tough games. We got 5 left, though, so let's go. Miami at New Orleans. Tannehill or Taysom Hill? Tannehill. Tua or Taysom?
Taysom.
Taysom or Mahomes?
Mahomes. I don't love Taysom Hill this week either.
Sit the Dolphins running backs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Waddle is a top 20 PPR wide receiver in half PPR. What about there?
Still top 20. This is going to be like an 8 for 60 game for him.
Okay. Yeah, the Saints give up. This is so interesting. The Saints give up a lot of big plays. That's their deal. That's their problem. That is not what the Dolphins do well offensively. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Who wins, by the way? Huge game.
Saints.
Okay. How about Gesicki? I think we've covered him. He's, you know what to do with Gesicki.
I think Parker's the tough one in this game.
Yeah, you said you don't like him. Or no, Jamie said that, but you agreed.
I think he's a high-end number 3.
Okay. Parker. Yeah, so this team, I mean, they're 23rd against wide receivers. They're not special. And they do allow the big plays. Maybe that would be Parker. I don't know. All right, so let's go Parker or Tyler Boyd.
Parker.
Parker or Michael Carter, the running back.
Parker.
I'll take Carter. This is what Lattimore has done against some guys this season. Devontae Adams, 5 for 56. Terry McLaurin, 4 for 46. DK Metcalf, 2 for 96 and a touchdown. We know how that game went.
Yeah, lies.
Devontae Smith, 4 for 61. Mike Evans in the full game, 2 for 48 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to shadow Parker, though.
Well, who's he going to shadow?
I don't know if he's going to shadow anybody.
I think he'll shadow Parker.
Okay. It's Gesicki's top 10. He's tight end. Gets a lot of targets. Taysom Hill is 14th. Taysom Hill or Burrow?
Burrow.
Taysom Hill or Roethlisberger?
Taysom.
Depends. I don't know who's in, who's out. Right now, I'll say Taysom.
Taysom Hill or Russell Wilson against the Bears?
Russell Wilson,
I'll go Taysom.
especially if Lockett returns.
Your stat of the day, stat of the game, 7 straight games now for the Dolphins. Opposing running backs, none had more than 11 carries, 6 non-PPR or 14 PPR fantasy points. How do you view Alvin Kamara this week?
Start him.
Slam dunk, must start guy.
Okay. It's one of those, of course I'm starting him, but I wish he had a better matchup deals. But because Ingram is eating up a chunk of that work. You know, I mean, I don't think it's not playing him in DFS, put it that way. Do you guys feel that way? I mean, kind of sucks this situation.
Well, the showdown, so you're probably going to play him.
Oh, yes.
I will not put him in my my infamous 4 p.m. and primetime lineup that everyone always
cheating
sees.
thing I've ever seen in my life.
What?
Every Sunday we have to do a 4 p.m. slate
Oh.
of lineups, and Heath cheats all the time and does 4 p.m. in primetime.
That was like the time Heath added a week to the regular season to make sure he got in the playoffs. Saints wide receivers going back to Callaway after that 112-yard game.
No.
No, but that was encouraging, you know, and I really want to know what their quarterback situation looks like next year, because if you have Thomas back, I think Callaway could actually be a decent player, but I want to see a better quarterback.
Don't you think it might depend on the next month? They've got the Dolphins, the Panthers, and the Falcons. If they go win the next 3 games and make the playoffs, it might be Taysom for a full year next year.
It might be. And I mean, look, Taysom unlocked Callaway last week, so
It'll be Wilson. Who gets drafted first next year? Miles Sanders or Michael Thomas?
that's going to depend on the quarterback for New Orleans.
If it's Taysom Hill.
Sanders.
Yeah.
It's
I
also
think
position scarcity.
it's probably
Sanders is awesome. He just doesn't score. I mean, look at how much how well he's
does
running.
anybody on the team like him. Like they might draft a running back.
Which DST do you like better, Saints or Dolphins? They're very
Saints.
close in your rankings.
Saints.
All right, you guys have the Saints slightly ahead. They're both in play. You can
Yeah.
start these DSTs. Denver is
I
at,
actually made that move in one league. I dropped the Dolphins for the Saints.
oh, all right. Denver is at Las Vegas. So who's good in this game? Who are you feeling in this one?
Love Javonte Williams.
Yeah, you're starting Jacobs and Javonte, and you're starting Renfro. And
You can start Melvin Gordon too.
What's that?
You can start Melvin Gordon too.
You can start Melvin Gordon. He's more of a high-end flex for me, but yeah, you could start Melvin Gordon. And I don't hate the defenses, either one.
Yeah, you're very much banking on Drew Lock.
I mean, I think it might help that the Raiders secondary is not very good at staying close to the receivers because Drew Lock's throws are often not close to the receivers.
Well, the Raiders secondary, to be fair, has actually been a surprising bright spot this year. But as I mentioned earlier, ravaged by injuries and COVID right now. They are like the Browns last week, or like, I mean, not going to be quite like the Bears last week where they started all backups, but it's not the same secondary.
No, but Nate Hobbs has been a nice find for them.
I think he's on the COVID list. I'm pretty sure he's on the COVID list.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's one of them. Mullins on IR, Abrams on IR, and let me just double check because Hobbs has been a very good addition for them. Absolutely.
Yep, he's on the COVID list.
He's on the COVID list. So yeah, and you know, does that mean anything for Jerry Jeudy and Sutton? Can you trust anyone in that passing game?
Trust? No way.
Nope.
Flyer? Maybe.
I guess it. Do we go? Is it Sutton the best one because of his history with Drew Lock?
I mean,
Patrick's the best.
the one guy in
receiver,
the
I
passing
think,
game
right
I
now.
actually like is Fant. You know, I mean, we've seen tight ends have success against this team. Like you mentioned, no Abrams. He had a huge game against them earlier this year.
Yeah.
But when I say I like Noah Fant, it's Noah maybe.
Okay, it's not Noah. Thank you this week.
It's Noah, please.
No, it's a great point. I mean, the Raiders are one of the worst. I think they're second worst against tight ends, and we need tight ends this week. So, would you start Hunter Henry over Noah Fant?
If the guys are out in non-PPR, I would, but in PPR, I would start Fant.
I'd go with Fant as well.
Yeah, for the fantasy managers who have been holding on to Javonte Williams, and they've gotten some good production, but this is definitely a week to start him, right?
Holding on. Who hasn't been starting Javonte Williams?
Lately, well, you did it. I don't think he's never a slam dunk, in my opinion, when Gordon plays, except for the Lions game.
I mean,
the Lions game.
It's very difficult based on what he's done the last month to be sitting Javonte Williams.
Yeah, he's been great. And he's catching passes too. Okay, so who do you like better, Jacobs or Javonte?
Jacobs for me.
Jacobs slightly, but I don't feel comfortable with that. So I mentioned it. Jacobs is just not good. I mean, or not playing good. He's a very good player. But he should be better for the touches that he's getting.
Does this matter to you? The Broncos have allowed 1 touchdown to a running back in their last 7 games, and it was a receiving touchdown to Austin Eckler. That is 7 straight games without a running back scoring a rushing touchdown. Does that matter to you?
They're tough. This is a really good defense. When they get Aaron Rodgers next year, they're going to be such a good Super Bowl team.
So does it matter to you, Heath?
No, I'm still starting him.
Okay.
This is like think about what you said about Alvin Kamara. You're still starting him, but you wish it was a better matchup.
Sure. But would you start, say, Sony Michel or Josh Jacobs?
Jacobs.
Jacobs PPR for sure. Non-PPR is close.
And Renfro or Waddle?
Renfro.
Even though they're the same player. Renfro. Okay. So actually, yeah, the Broncos have been terrific against wide receivers, but not slot receivers. Outside receivers, no luck. I mean, look at Jason Higgins last week, but look at Boyd. So Renfro bounces around, but he'll definitely play in the slot. Any interest in Foster Moreau this week?
A little.
0.
Matchup? Shannon?
Yeah, they're so good.
They are.
They held Waller to 5 for 59. They held Andrews, I think, to like 5 for 57. I mean, it's not like they haven't faced good tight ends.
Kelsey, 3 for 27.
Right.
Second fewest points allowed to tight ends, and the DSTs are in play. All right, let's
Foster,
go to
more no.
Chargers and the Texans. I feel like I forgot to preview a game.
This is the easiest one of all. Start all, sit all.
No, it's not start all, because then you're saying start Jared Cook and Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm starting Mike Williams, probably. Jared Cook's a borderline start.
There's supposed to be 8 games on this slate, not 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because that would leave us 8 for tomorrow, and we don't want that. So I have to figure out what I missed. Chargers-Texans. All right, yeah, this is an easy game. But if you want to talk about where you would have Justin Jackson and Josh Kelley if Eckler were out, and I will figure out which game I forgot.
Jackson is a top 15 running back if Eckler's out.
I'd be a little lower than that, but he's a start.
Okay. How about Rex Burkhead? Any interest there? He gets 15 touches straight game.
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't want to sell the game short, but
we don't know. It's a short game.
Talk to me about Brandon Cooks if he plays. This is actually the Chargers have been very bad against receivers lately. But
if he plays, he's a must-start guy. If he doesn't play, you're not starting any Texans.
Is he a must-start guy? Because he's going up and now against a team that's going to have both cornerbacks healthy.
I don't care. You're starting him.
All right. Jets and Jaguars.
I see where you're going, but I mean, he's just been so good. You got to take your chances with him.
With Davis Mills specifically, yeah. Jets at Jaguars. Who's a start in this game other than James Robinson, who's top 5?
Sit all but James Robinson. I mean, I think if you're stuck, like if you're the Tyreek Hill manager or the Brandon Cooks manager, Laquan Treadwell is not a bad pivot in a deeper league. He scored 10 or more PPR points in 3 straight games. He's another guy who just doesn't score touchdowns, but he's the Jaguars' best receiver. So not horrible. For the Jets, I think, like we said earlier, Michael Carter's a flex. He'd be my favorite Jets player, but there's not a lot to like about this game.
If Crowder's okay and gets back to practice, Crowder would be my favorite wide receiver in the game.
If Crowder's out, Braxton Berrios to the moon.
Braxton Berrios.
Well, Laviska's on the injury report, and he's getting a lot of targets. I know he's not doing anything with it, but Treadwell, why wouldn't Treadwell be ahead of Crowder?
I would play Treadwell over Crowder, yes.
I would not. But
At some point, I'm going to get Heath to say something nice about Laquan Treadwell.
He's been better than Crowder the last month.
4 straight games with 53 to 68 yards and 4 to 6 catches.
He doesn't have Crowder's upside. If Crowder were ever to get the targets he probably should get, but I think Treadwell's better right now.
Okay. Which DST if you were going to gamble on one?
The Jets.
Really?
I am not going to gamble on one.
I mean, the Jaguars at least have had some times where they've been a good defense.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess they're both kind of the same.
No Robert Saleh, perhaps, in this game.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
not.
was hoping is Saleh does something to confuse Trevor Lawrence.
All right, I think we're done there, and I don't have
both these quarterbacks are terrible right now.
I don't have any other games to preview, so tomorrow is going to be a very long show with 8 games. And
Too bad it won't be a short one like
Lions, Falcons.
Today is one of the shortest ones we've had in a long time, so that's fine.
Let's do Lions, Falcons now.
No.
Why?
I don't want to do it now. I'll do it tomorrow. I haven't done my notes on that game yet.
What notes do you need?
I need a lot of notes.
Pick another game. Let's do the Giants game. You know the Giants.
I don't need any notes on that game.
Let's go. Do the Giants game. Get out of the way.
That's okay. We can do that tomorrow. All right,
I don't want to be here for 2 hours tomorrow. Let's do the Giants game now.
Same thing we're doing. No, that's selling it short. That game. See, Jamie, there's a strategic way in which I place these games.
What are we selling short?
The Giants-Eagles game.
You start Barkley. That's it.
Do you start Barkley? Because I will make a strong case to sit Barkley.
Okay, so
on tomorrow's show. We'll talk to you later, everybody. Thank you very much.